Hello and welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be talking about some news that came from the most recent Final Fantasy live letter. And I guess the biggest news, or one of the biggest pieces of news to come out from this, is the fact that Final Fantasy Endwalker is going to be delayed. Now, Yoshida went into great detail, and there is a blog post on the Lodestone, which I'll read a bit of, so we could go into why they have chosen to delay Endwalker and what this might mean for us as players. So, it starts off the post by saying, I'm incredibly sorry to share this so close to launch, but I've decided to postpone the release of Endwalker. The original release date was scheduled for Tuesday, November 23rd, 2021, but I've decided to delay the release by 2 weeks. As such, the expansion pack will now be released on Tuesday, December 7th, 2021. There are several reasons for the postponement, but I am the one overseeing all aspects of the title. As the head of the project, the responsibility falls solely on me. Allow me to convey my sincerest apologies to all our players, our Warriors of Light, and world who would have been looking forward to the release date of Endwalker. I am truly sorry. So the new release schedule and the early access release schedule looks like this. So we have the official release date being now Tuesday, December 7th, 2021, and the start of early access. So if you've pre-ordered the game, you could start playing on Friday, December 3rd, 2021. And then we're going to have patch 6.01 scheduled to release on December 21st, 2021. That's Tuesday. And 6.05 will be released on January 4th, 2022, which is also a Tuesday. So yes, that is confirmed that the release of Endwalker has been delayed by just a couple of weeks, and even less so if you have about a week and a half if you decided to pre-order the game, which I have. We can see from the blog post already that Yoshida has essentially taken sole responsibility for the decision, which is admirable if you're in charge of a team like that, to be the person to take the brunt of the potential negativity. I think that's the sign of a true leader. But anyway, we'll move on to the reasons for the schedule change. So Yoshida says, the biggest factor behind the release date change was my own selfishness as the game's director. Ever since I was placed in charge of the original Final Fantasy XIV, I've continued the development of operations for Final Fantasy XIV over the past 11 years, while always endeavouring to balance my position as producer, overseeing the project as director in charge of development. It was my intention to work in the same manner as we approach the final stages of Endwalker's development. He goes on to say, as I have mentioned previously in interviews and during live streams, Endwalker will be the largest expansion pack in the history of Final Fantasy XIV, and it's been a huge undertaking, but we proceeded with development following plans that would allow us to make it in time for the originally scheduled release date. Although admittedly everything would be down right to the wire, as it is with most games, let's be fair. However, as we near the end of development and I played through everything from the quests to the battle content and the like, I just couldn't contain my desire to further improve Endwalker's quality. Specifically because of the expansion packs marks the first major culmination of events in Final Fantasy XIV so far. Even as we look beyond Endwalker, the Final Fantasy XIV story will continue for a long time, and we hope to deliver many more enjoyable experiences in the game. However, it was precisely because Endwalker concludes the first major saga that I felt our team needed to push ourselves to the limits that I envisioned. Okay, so essentially, what is I guess what we can assume from what he's saying here is that the reason for the delay is just more quality assurance within the game, ironing out a few things, changing maybe some wording and some of the text, just like small little things, but he just wants it to be as perfect as it possibly can be. And his reason obviously is because this is the culmination of everything that we've been playing through. Some people, obviously, you've been playing since 2011, so this is a culmination of 10 years of story. But anyway, he goes on to say, as a result, we've remained firmly resolved to adjust to the smallest nuances and ensure our writing covers even the finest points of the vast and intricate story that has spanned the past 11 years. There you go. Unfortunately, the consequences of this is that we ended up in a situation where we had to cut into the time required for Final Fantasy quality assurance and checks due to this time spent on additional improvements. Well, there you go. That's basically just confirmed what I just said. So they're just working on the tiny nuances in terms of the story and the text, and because they've done that, they've cut into time of quality assurance time, so they just need a little bit more time to make sure that everything's ironed out and smooth and perfect. At this rate, there was a bigger risk of reaching the release date without ensuring stability as one form of quality, and for that reason I've decided to postpone the release at this time, as we also anticipate large amounts of congestion across all the game worlds. Yes, I've been thinking about that. I felt even in this respect, it wouldn't be right for us to release the expansion while lacking adequate stability. I'm truly sorry. I guess it's particularly with MMO releases, right? It's so important that everything and everyone is as ready as they can be, because if you've played an MMO on launch or an MMO expansion on launch, it's very rarely smooth. It's very rarely a good experience, right? I look at New World recently, for example, and basically I think he's saying that just allowing this time for quality assurance and maybe just doing work with the servers, I suppose, is going to make everything a more enjoyable and smoother experience for us when the game does release. He then moves on to say, when I look at my own career, up until now, I have never postponed a previously announced release date, although I did once shift a release from spring to early summer. And when I also considered that many players had already made arrangements such as taking days off work in preparation for the original release date, I was incredibly torn between whether or not we should cut down the expansion pack's volume or even release content in installments. As such, I humbly ask you to forgive me for the decision I've made. So yeah, probably like the biggest negative aspect of delaying a release is that there will be people out there who will have booked off time from work or whatever to be able to just enjoy the expansion and play it as much as they can, and it will be difficult, I guess, for some of those people to be able to rearrange their time off. And if that is you, that sucks. I'm sorry to hear that, and hopefully you can sort it out so you can change it for the next release date. But I think we do need to acknowledge that the greater good of the game and the gaming community as a whole is, I think we need to acknowledge that the development team and Yoshida and the people who make the decisions need to put the game and the community as a whole first. And I don't think really any of us want to have like an expansion that comes in episodes. Obviously there is post-launch patches, of course, but that's different, and we want to have as much content as we can. So I always think, like, no matter for what reason, delays, in my opinion, like, is always a good thing. The game should always be released when it's done, in my opinion, at least. Now, his final remarks are, while we have postponed the release date by 2 weeks, I believe we've been able to successfully depict Endwalker's story because we set forth on this long journey developing and operating Final Fantasy XIV together. While we will require a little bit longer until the expansion pack's release, please rest assured that we will continue investing every ounce of our strength into the development and operations in order to deliver an immersive adventure to our players. He once more conveys his sincerest apologies and inconveniences, and he says it's due to his colleagues and his own shortcomings, which I think he's I think Yoshida is being incredibly harsh on himself. Like, making an MMO is just unbelievably complicated. It's something that my tiny puny brain cannot even comprehend how to build something like that. It's ridiculous, and I think himself and the dev team, give yourselves a break. We'll be waiting, and we'll be happy to have the game come out whenever it's ready to. And he ends it off with, we will continue to do our best to bring you the best experience, not only in Endwalker, but also in the further updates and the content that will follow, restoring your trust one step at a time. You don't need to... And then he signs it off, Naoki Yoshida, Final Fantasy producer and director. You don't need to restore anyone's trust, Yoshida. I mean, I can only speak for myself, but you don't need to restore your trust in me. We have to bear, as I've said, we have to bear in mind how complicated it is to make an MMO. And although, yes, it is a bit late notice, I suppose, to delay a game, I guess, particularly with quality assurance, it's not something you could really, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, as I said, I don't really know how you make games. But quality assurance is probably not something that you find you need more of until you get to the end of a development stage anyway. And, I mean, they're only delaying it by 2 weeks. It's only 2 weeks, and if you pre-order it, it's like a week and a half. That's not a lot of time at all. Other games have been delayed for years and years and years. So really, if you are annoyed by the delay to this, I think we should consider ourselves a little bit lucky. Delaying games is very, very normal, and the fact it's only been delayed by a couple of weeks is no time at all. And Yoshida, he's a busy man. He is obviously producer and director of Final Fantasy XIV, but he is also producing Final Fantasy XVI at the same time, or is directing Final Fantasy XVI. He's got a lot in his plate, and I think it's good to remember that the people who make this game are all humans, yeah? And we need to empathize with the situation they're in. And again, it's only a couple weeks. It's only a couple weeks. You have to bear in mind that this is November. There is plenty of games that are coming out in this month for us to play to fill up the time, such as Call of Duty Vanguard, if that's what you like. We also have Battlefield 2042. We've got Grand Theft Auto the Trilogy. We've got Halo coming out as well. And we also have the highly anticipated Elder Scrolls V Skyrim coming out once again in November. So yeah, there's plenty of stuff for us to play and coming out at this time. This is a very, very congested time for game releases. And December is looking a lot lighter in terms of games, so I think that's actually kind of for the best for everyone, really. And also, if you're like me and you haven't quite finished yet, I'm just on the tail end of the MSQ and Shadowbringers nearly finished, and this extra couple of weeks is going to be kind of like a godsend, really, because it gives me a little bit more time to get ready and finish up the MSQ, do any of the extra content I want to do, get through any of the extra unlock content as well that I haven't done yet. So to me, this delay is not a problem at all, and I think we do also need to empathise with that. And also, if you did, and I think one more thing that I want to say is also, if you did have your holiday, if you did have your holiday booked and you can't reschedule it, at the very least, the pre-release is happening on a Friday, so you do at least have the weekend to enjoy the game, if you have obviously chosen to pre-order it. But yeah, that is it. So just to cap things off, Final Fantasy Endwalker, which was due to be coming out on, I think pre-release was on the 19th of November, and general release was on the 22nd, I think. 23rd. I can't quite remember, but it doesn't matter anymore, because now the official release date will be Tuesday, December 7th, and the early access will be Friday, December 3rd. I'm going to be looking through the rest of the live letter and making more videos, more content based around it. So if you are interested in more Final Fantasy news and other things like that, please do hit like and subscribe, because there'll be a lot more content coming your way right here. Thank you all. And with that, I'm going to thank you all so much for watching, and I very much hope to see you in the next video. Thank you very much. Goodbye.